See, there is a small delay. But it's gonna be good. It's gonna be fine. Podcast recording through the internet, over the internet. It's always a little bit different.
Yeah.
And it's also different that I'm gonna speak English again today. That's been a while. It's been a while. Normally I speak Dutch on my podcast, but sometimes we make an exception because I'm gonna speak Dutch, you're not gonna understand what I'm saying. And that's gonna be difficult. Then it's not gonna be a nice talk, I think.
Yeah, Dutch is tricky because I studied English and I studied German, and when I listen to Dutch, because it sounds so similar to those two languages, and it's almost like I feel like I understand it, but I have no idea what the people are saying.
So maybe you can pick up some words and make a little bit of sort of context if it's going to be right, but that's it. Yeah, that's not how you can have a conversation, so that's difficult indeed. Now, people know my voice, so maybe it's easier that you start with the podcast to introduce yourself, because then we have a little bit of background.
Okay. So, hello people. My name is Zsüd. I am a producer, songwriter, singer. And I'm Budapest-based, so I live in Hungary. And basically that's me in a nutshell.
That's a really short nutshell then. Really small nutshell, that's maybe the better term for it. I think you or your manager sent me an email with, there's a new album. And I was like, that's great. But I don't promote albums anymore on my website. It's more like I do podcasts. And I don't write reviews, but maybe we can do a chat and promote the album this way, because you released the album last week,
yes,
if I'm correctly. It's about 37 minutes. It has some variation of songs on it.
Mm-hmm.
On it. Let's see where it goes. You said you're living in Budapest, and if I look back on your socials, you started about a year ago posting stuff, or less than a year.
Yes. The first song came out in August last year. So, like a half a year ago.
But did you make music before that, or is this just a new project and it started in August?
Well, yeah, I had a previous project, but then I shut that down a couple of years ago, and then there was like 1.5 year, 2 years of silence on my part. I mean, because at some point I started to make different music, and also because my previous project was mainly instrumental, and then I started to put vocals in my music too, and I thought that it would be nice to just start from a blank page with this project. So this is why I started as Zsüd, and because it's my nickname, and I thought that it would be nice to just rebrand the stuff that I make.
And you said you were making music before, and then it was more instrumental.
Yeah.
Listening to your album, there are still a lot of instrumental parts in it, of course. So that it's understandable that if you come out from that part into this project, that you're taking it with you. But you also, or in your introduction, you said you're not only making music, but you're also producing it and doing the vocals. So it's just a one-woman band at that moment.
Yeah, kind of. So I do the production. I'm like the definition of like a bedroom producer, because I literally produce my music from my room, and I basically do everything. Well, except for if you hear any guitar or violin in the music, that's from other people, like session musicians recording. But otherwise, I do everything else, and I also do the songwriting, lyrics, recording and mixing. So at the end of the process, also the mastering is not my part of the job.
No, but most of the artists don't do their own mastering. It's like you deliver the product and then someone else can fine tune it so it will be delivered on all the platforms on the right ways.
I think it's also kind of healthy to, at some point just, give it to someone else, because, it gets a fresh ear. And because, at the point that you are done with all the production, it's just, your ears are so messed up because you just listen to the music so many times that your judgmental system is no longer, like very how to say that.
You can't hear the difference anymore because you're so into it and you made it from the start, of course. And if you have some fresh ears, they can hear maybe you need to do some fine tuning more, or they can tune it like they want it, and they make it a whole for the most of the times the internet, of course, at this moment, because that's where most of the music is streamed, of course. And that's a whole different part of the job, to get it right for Spotify or Apple Music or whatever, because your music is everywhere. There's a part of the album is on YouTube, I can see. It has 11 tracks. I want to speak Dutch again. 11 tracks on the album. And it's when I was listening to it, I heard there's a lot of difference between it, because sometimes it's more like underground techno vibes, dark vibes, and the other side is really jazzy, like one of the tracks called 2 a.m., like chill and just enjoy the music, lay back and stuff like that. How do you come from all those different angles? Where does it come from?
Oh, well, it was kind of hard for me to make friends with myself on this angle, because my musical taste was so wide, like ever. And when an artist starts a project, or there's a band or whatever, there's always like, okay, what kind of music is this? And like the people in general, and also the musicians tend to, put themselves in these boxes. Okay, we should sound like this. We should do like this and this. And especially in case of producers, because, when you have a band, what kind of instruments you have it also sets up a limitation from the beginning, like, okay, what is that music we're going to be? But if you're a producer, then the possibilities are endless. And in so many cases I see in my fellow producers' cases that sometimes someone makes a song that sounds differently than the ones that he or she made before, and then they just get scared, like, oh my god, what should I do with this song? Should I do another profile for it, another artist project, because it's so different. But if you think about it, you as a listener also, you consume so many kinds of music, and why should that limit us? Why should so many different kind of music come from just one person? So that's on one hand, and on the other hand, and this is also this goes back with why I changed the project name and stuff, because at some point I realized I still make music to meet some expectations that I imagine, basically. And when I realized that, I could just let it go. And with creating as Zsüd, I try to, not care with these boundaries at all, and I try to just enjoy the freedom that I have with my tools and abilities to whatever I'd like, and yeah, so this was my current mood, and I didn't want to limit myself to not to publish these songs in one package.
And when did you start writing for Zsüd for this album? Was that a year before? Or just last year?
I think the first songs were written in 2018.
Okay, so it goes a while back, and post all the things that are happening in the world right now.
Yeah.
So that's also a different vibe, of course. So that's why I was asking this question. But when you are an artist and want to make an album, some pick that they want to have a story in it, and they make a whole story, and they make 12 tracks that are following itself. So it's a one package, but you decide every mood can be on it.
Yeah.
I guess you made more than 11 tracks. Or was it just, I made 11, let's put it on an album?
Oh, no. Of course it was more.
So how to pick 11 tracks that are so different? Because there's no direct line in it that you're like, okay, this makes sense to put it after the another one.
Well, as for selecting the songs, I just, went for the ones that I thought the best.
Always a good start.
Yeah, and after that, I just had to, find the connection points between the songs, and I think there's like a curve what we are going through when we are listening to this album, because the first song Player is like the candy. I mean, that's the most poppy song from the album, and it's like the how do they say that? Like the gateway drug. Okay, yeah, come on in, it will be good. And then for the next step as raw, yeah, it's gonna be raw as well. And then we have like an electric part or electric block, and then we go down as for the emotions and vibes with 2 a.m. or Little by Little, but also we are going into like a poppy phase, and then we just come up a little bit at the end.
Yeah, so it gives a nice flow. When I listened to the album, I had my headphones on, so it was more like into my ears instead of all surrounding me. And then you get a different vibe, of course, as well. And I was driving, so it was just like, okay, let's put it on. I'm gonna be on the road for 30 minutes at least, so I can go to the most of the album, and in one sitting. And then you're like, that's different than the one track before this one, and what's happening? But it's in the end, if you're listening to the whole album, it makes sense that it's, as you said, divided by parts, but it's still following up each other, and it has a different energy, but it flows into the next one again. When you're also a composer and an artist and a vocalist, where do you start in making the songs? Is that I have a great lyrics and let's make some music with it, or I have something in my mind and maybe I can organize that together and I'll put on lyrics later?
Well, it's easy to say, but it's true that it's different every time, and okay. And I'm kind of conscious about it because I'd like to keep it diverse, because sometimes, and also because of so you can hear that that I cover a lot of genres, and different genres could be covered, you know, from different kind of angles. So for example, sometimes I just mess around with a synth sound, and then, you know, I found something that I like, and then, you know, I come up with a lead sound design, and then, you know, I build everything around it. Or sometimes I just play something on the piano, and then I just sing something on it. Or I have some lyrics, and then I try to make that onto a melody. So it's literally different every time. But I really like to I really like keeping this this way, because it's just, you know, it's just more fun to come from more angles, and you know, it's just more fun.
But it also has, you have no boundaries with it, because you can do it all. It's not like there are limitations that are holding you back, that you can write, and there's not like that, oh, but I don't know how I will put vocals on it. So I can write something, but I don't know how it needs to sound with it. And so it gives you a lot of options. But that can also be a struggle, that you can do so many things that there's no holding back, and you can do everything, of course. And with the synthesizer or keys or whatever, it can go a long way, of course.
Yeah. And
how do you?
Yeah. Sorry. Finish it.
How do you limit yourself in that? Where do you know where to stop, or did you go too far as well, and that you're like, okay, I need 3 lines less instead of more?
Yeah. So it's a tricky one, because you can find yourself into this trap that you have too many options. Like, you know, in a huge restaurant, where you can find like all the food from the world, and you just can't choose what to eat, and it's basically the same. But I think once you have something to play with, I mean, like, doesn't matter if it's a melody, fracture, or some lyrics, whatever. So if you have a starting point, or I just step back a little, because even if, so you can have a starting point as a vision, like, what do you want to write about, what was the feeling you want to create, and from that moment I think I have this kind of like problem solving mindset, and I think it's important to, you know, keep your focused on what's the exact problem that you want to solve in the moment, and not get distracted by anything else. Because, you know, for example, if I have, you know, a couple of chords, and I have lyrics, and I just recorded it very quickly. Of course, it's going to be full of mistakes as for, you know, how I play it, how I sing it. Maybe I don't like a couple of phrases in it, and I want to change that afterwards. But I don't stop to do that in the moment when I realize that. But instead, I finish the recording, and I finish what I wanted to do, and then go back and change that. And I think that's very helpful in order to be productive, and you know, not to be, you know, pushed and pulled by all the inputs that you have.
Just finish it first, and then go back to square one, and see where it went.
Yes.
And then see what you can add to it, or need to reduce a little bit more.
Yeah.
That's a great way to just don't give you boundaries anymore. It's just like, just create first, and then afterwards you can judge on it again.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. But if you're a recording, a bedroom recording artist at that moment, and you're like, I can understand that there are a lot of ideas in your mind. Do you have somewhere to record next to the bedroom phase, that you're like a memory recorder, or a phone that you're like, I'm gonna sing into it or make my notes into it, or a kind of beat that I want to have. How do you storage it all? How do you all your thoughts?
Well, not really. I mean, I instantly start recording in Ableton, so I use Ableton for creating music, and I don't really use like a phone memo. I mean, I can totally get that it works for some people, but it's just not me, and I like recording everything in a DAW for the first time as well. And then I have like a storage system as for the file names, so I know how to go back with for the old ideas, and yeah. Oh, and well, because as for melodies, I don't usually get like random ideas like on the boss or something. So
Okay.
that's usually not how it's happening. But as for lyrics, I usually have, and I just well, it's not a very good system, but I usually just write an email to myself in my phone very quickly.
An email.
Yeah.
Okay. So instead of using the notepad, it's like, oh, an email, send it to myself, and it's somewhere on the database as well.
Yeah.
But if it works, it works. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
Back in the days, I was like, when I need a reminder and I didn't have the app with me, it was indeed send me an email to myself. So that's my memory at that moment. So now it makes sense, but it's like with so many ideas and so many ways to get into a song, it's like maybe everything needs something else to deal with. Like instead, as you said, for the lyrics, I'll write myself an email, so it's somewhere. And for the other things, you will record it directly into Ableton. When I listened to the album, I was like, okay, this is great. I can understand that you're putting it on your headphones or a great stereo set, but how do you want to do this live? Because then it's a whole different thing, I think.
Well, yes, I would like to, but yeah, well, as for starting a new artist project, well, I basically picked the wrongest time ever.
Oh, or the best because you have
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, so well, I had like one live act since the project
Oh, damn.
started. So yeah, and yeah, so I definitely plan to make this work on stage as well, and also I want to keep it like a flexible setup. So, for example, the live act that I had, like it was I think in November last year. It was just me, so vocals, some gadgets, computer, and that was all. But also, we are working on an extension of that. So we will work with a guitar player and a violinist. So those will be live too. And yeah, basically that is the plan.
So all the elements are stripped apart and will put in place where it's possible. That the violin player is extra, the guitar player is extra, but it'll also be possible all from the computer.
Yeah.
Okay, so when the live act is not only you behind a desk putting press play and wait till it ends, but it's a live experience. Then it's not like a DJ set.
No. It's not like a DJ set.
But that means that you also can tweak a little bit more during the live songs.
Yes, that gives you a lot of freedom. Also, switch up melodies a little bit, or the sounds, or those songs that are slower. They can be pimped up a little bit for like a techno vibe or this kind of stuff. So yeah, there are some possibilities.
Yeah, because I was thinking, I'm a booker as well, so I'm like directly in my mind, where can you put someone like this? Where does it fit? But is there a big market in Hungary for artists like you, or is it really small and you're better off going to other countries?
Yeah, not really. So it is really, really a small group that are interested in this kind of music. Also, yeah, we have a very, very strange situation as for the current music industry in Hungary. So even the pop music is very defined right now, and so this is why my plan is to go abroad as well, and because this is not really like a mainstream pop project, obviously, but I think in every countries there are subcultures that listen to this kind of music, and basically keeping the live act setup flexible is kind of a strategical decision, because this way, I can be easily go, further distances all by myself as well, with my backpack, and that's it. So I could go a little bit further with the project.
But that are there markets in the world that are really into this? I think directly of Berlin, of course, but that's maybe the easiest translation for it. But are there more markets or cities that you're like, that would be great to play there?
I think so. I personally really like Poland, and I think the electropop scene is really, really interesting there as well. And yeah, I think in France too, and also like in the Netherlands, there are very, very great electronic projects. Like I'm in love with Veval, for example. I think they are very, very great. So I think there are several places there this project can be interesting.
Yeah, as a booker, I don't have many bands booked like you or artists like you, but the only thing that comes in mind is Isotropia and Stockhauser. That are the only things that are like this more dark synth pop. They're a little bit in line, and Werner Karloff. But I booked one guy from Belgium once, Bolt Ruin, but he's unknown as well, and he was playing, I think, Ghent on the more the coast side of Belgium, and that there was a scene for it. But when you go to other parts of Belgium, there's like no one caring. So it's like it's always those small spots, and not Ghent is not really small, but it's more like there are some spots per country that are really into it, and the rest is just like we'll see, or don't care a lot. So it's always difficult to have them in the right place, of course.
Yeah.
In the right vibe, in the right city where people are really interested in these kind of musics, because it's not mainstream, as you said. It's like that's not the poppy arts that everyone is hearing on the radio. When you're releasing an album in these times, I still try to not say too much about this, but Rewiring came out last week. And then you need to promote yourself as a new artist, and you can't play live, of course. You release some video clips; they are really nice. But how do you get your word out? How do you get promoted next to this podcast, of course? But
well, yeah, it's extremely hard without playing live anywhere, and also in this era, people don't really, their main focus is not on music, obviously, because there are bigger and more important things to care about and worry about. So it's really hard to get people's attention in these days. But yeah, well, you know, as like every other artist, we are trying to get through social media and through different kind of campaigns. So yeah, we are using the tools that we have.
Yeah, I think it's still difficult to release a new, as we said in the beginning, it's difficult to start an artist right now, a new artist, new brand, and get it in the market, of course. But on the other hand, a genre like this is just like a lot of mouth to mouth, and it's spreading the word through the subgenres, and people are really liking it, and Facebook groups, of course, that are talking about new music that came out, and artists that are unknown and stuff like that. So that also helps, instead of needing the big companies or the big radio stations to get airplay before you can get released or release an album. Were there things, because as you said, you released music earlier as well, that you saw that were different between a production or promotion back then and right now?
Well, yeah, and well, I didn't really have a lot of knowledge about like promotion, so it was really like a, you know, cute little DIY project, and yeah, so basically I was just focusing on a communication within Hungary, so I just, you know, sent out the music to the music blogs, and basically that was my promotion.
End of the promotion.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a start. I mean, you have to start somewhere, and if music blogs write about you, people will read it. At least that is the intention of it, of course. So it will get further as well.
Yeah, but also I think, and yeah, I will go into this one later this year, because I think collaborations are very good ways to get, well, kind of promoted, you know, like, you know, quote unquote, steal from the others' fan base, and, you know, get to known by the other artists. So I think that's a really, really good way to, you know, get more people to know you.
But that means that you need new music as well, or
yes,
is
course,
it like?
Of course, yeah.
So sometimes some artists are like, okay, I have music, I will send it out to some other producers, and they will make a remix. So I don't need to directly make new music, but someone else will make it for me.
Well, yeah, that's also a plan. Yeah, so there will be some remixes as well.
Okay, so it's gonna be even more music coming out soon, or
yeah. So it was like
after soon.
when last week the album came out, like I had this huge relief for like half a day, like, oh my God, you know, it's like 2 years of my life and it's finally out and I can let it go and so cool. And then, you know, like half a day, and then I had to, you know, scare to death, oh my God, what is going to be next? What I'm going to do? I have no strategy. Well, you know, and the voices in my head just, you know, got loose.
So there's going to be a really a strange album coming out soon with all those voices.
Yeah.
No, but it's nice that you're also already looking forward, and that's not like it's released and now we're gonna be touring again, because that's the normal way of it. But already be okay. What's the next production that's possible with it? Remixes or extras or bonus song or whatever. So there's a lot of possibilities within the limits that are right now. For an artist like you to still go on, because if it's only dropping an album and then be silent for half a year because normally you are on tour, yeah, all that content is lost at this moment, of course. So if you're I think still moving forward,
I think that's our only choice. I mean, not as for musicians, but like, you know, as for anybody, because, you know, we are so limited right now. But if you are keep focusing on what you are limited on, then, you know, it's just so depressing, and it just stops you from doing a lot of stuff. But instead, you know, you can change your focus on, okay, but what can you do even in this situation, and just do that.
Yeah, as you said, you're doing a lot by yourself, so it is not like the only limit is you. If you don't want to wake up, there's not going to be new music that day. So so that helps as well. I mean, if you are in a band, then you have also other problems. I'm working with one band, and one musician is living in a different country, and they can't rehearse because he can't cross the borders. So it's also a different situation, of course. Yes. And for you, it's like you start up Ableton and you can go and begin, and then just the mood, which song is gonna create that day. If you're even looking forward to the future, so not only making music and performing, where do you want to go? Where do you want to go with this music? What's in it for Zsüd? Zsüd. Yeah, I still try to pronounce it right.
It's perfect.
Yeah. Mine was Zsüd, but there's a G in it somewhere.
Yeah, Zsüd.
Zsüd.
Yeah.
Zsüd. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, on one hand, applied music interests me a lot, especially like film and cinematic stuff. So on the long run, I would really love to dive into that. And yeah, it's kind of a new stuff. So in Hungary, there will be a filming conference called Blend on the 8th of April. And I will be one of the invited artists who will make a selected film, so make sounds for a selected movie, part. So it's gonna be.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. It's like I'm really, really happy, and I'm so scared at the same time because
That's good.
It will be broadcasted live all day, and we will have like 6 or 7 hours to create a scoring project, basically.
Oh, yeah. Wow! So that's not just one time Justice League, but 2 times. It's just like 8 hours of cinema you have to film.
Yeah. So that's gonna be a very, very interesting project. So there's this on one hand, and also on the other hand. So I work as a music teacher in improv school, where we teach music production, and I really, really love doing this. I mean, just helping like-minded people to, bring out the most that they have in them. It's just, I think it's a beautiful job, and I plan to do that for a couple of more years as well.
Yeah, if you're not on tour, you can. Oh, you need to do it remotely now, or are the schools open in Hungary?
No, we are teaching remotely.
Oh, so you can do it from everywhere in the world. So if you're touring, you can still do that.
Yeah,
that's really smart.
Yeah, from the backstage and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, actually, so like last year, we had a songwriting course, and during summer we had some little concerts because we had this limit, like you are allowed to make concerts up to like 500 people or so. So we had some gigs like last year. And
500. We didn't see that anymore since a year.
Yeah, well, it seems so far right now here as well. Yeah. So this was last summer, and one of our students, she's a really, really amazing and talented singer, and so she did this songwriting course, and we had a presentation on a Friday, and she forgot, and they had a concert at that night. But because of COVID, we had like this hybrid setup because, some people were in the school, some people were online. So we were like, okay, just join in for like, 8 minutes when you present your stuff, and then you can go. And she did it like literally 10 minutes before her concert. And we were sitting there like, wow, she's really badass.
It's a solution. If it's needed, it's needed. But no, that gives also the possibilities, of course, if you look into the future for musicians, that they can do even more if you want to do it remotely, and it's not only limited to being in one room with each other.
Yes.
And for students as well, of course. I mean, it's always mandatory to be at a certain spot at a certain time, while it's maybe not necessary anymore. So maybe it gives more options for the future, and especially for creating arts. You don't need to be there on a specific time always. So it gives maybe a little bit of extra breathing room to create more, I think.
Yeah, I hope so, that we will keep this.
Yeah, who knows? I think we should wrap up, unless you have some more questions. But I think I have all that was in my mind answered. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know.
No. So let's wrap up. The album is out right now on all streaming platforms. So just look it up, or just click in the link below. I will link it to Apple Music and Spotify. That are the most common used, of course. So people can click on that. I will link to the to your socials, Facebook or YouTube. I'll check what's possible. Do you have anything else to promote for this album?
Well, not yet. I mean, yeah, it's
there are no vinyls or stuff
right
that
now.
you. Yeah, but there are no merchandise you can buy, right?
No,
so
not yet, unfortunately.
No,
yeah.
So yeah, just have to stream it more than 1 million times, and that will help as well.
Yeah.
I want to thank you very much for making some time and to record this podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was so much fun.
Yeah, great. Thank you. No problem. This was, I think, SharQ Talk number 85, and we'll see where the next one is going. Bye.